I've been doing work with you for three and a half years. Did the prosperity checkbook, and my life started to come together exactly the way I wanted to. I found a nice little house to live in. I had my dogs. I got rid of a relationship that didn't work miraculously without any animosity. I had quite a bit of money that I'd inherited, and I was going to school to study something that I wanted to be studying. And then I moved in this little house, but my health caved in. I spent a year and a half taking care of my mother before she died. And there was a lot of stress, and stress affects this disease. So I got...
Stress is this disease.
Yes. So there I was, starting in January, February.
All right, now
I couldn't move.
That we've heard enough.
I thought
so. We asked for every bit of that. We did, and we are appreciating your offering it. But as you're listening, can you hear? You could hear the statements that she was making that were locked on. You could hear the statements that she is making that are locked off. In other words, you can sort of feel what the vibrational content is. So now, never mind what has been.
Right.
The only thing that matters is right here and now, because here and now is where all of your power is. So the question that we would ask you is, are you asking? Well, that's an easy one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh boy,
time.
are you ever asking? Mm-hmm. You're asking in a more pointed, more powerful way than you ever have before.
Exactly.
And because we know the way the universe answers your desire, we would say to you that in the powerful asking, there is powerful answering. So if you are living less than you want, there can only be one thing that is out of whack, and that must mean that you are not in the receiving mode. And every negative feeling that comes along with every negative comment is that moment of not letting it in. So sit here for a moment with us and make an effort, we'll help you, to begin making statements around the subject of anything that has been important to you. Now, pick some subjects. We can feel, and you spoke it clearly here, that spending time with someone whose experience is diminishing, as you said, which was a very stressful time. So you held yourself without meaning to, without really consciously being aware of it, feeling that you should do it because it was your responsibility, and certainly we're not quarreling with that at all. But we're just wanting to help you to realize that it was that extended experience that caused you to be locked off the signal for a long enough time. And you see, when you've been summoning in a very strong way, and then you get into a state of resistance, it shows up in a very strong way. In other words, if you're not summoning in a strong way, you can hold yourself in negative thoughts, and the negative thoughts don't feel so powerful because the energy is not moving so fast. It would be like kinking a fire hose. There's a lot of pressure in a fire hose. And because there is more pressure in it, the kinking, there is more force even in the kinking. So the resistance is proportionate to the desire that is flowing through. We're not trying to get you to not talk about it because when you open your mouth, negative things come out. Because whether you're talking about it or not, it's still your vibration.
There. Yeah.
And if you've got that stuff mixed up in your vibration, then it's a very wonderful thing when you hear it come out of your mouth and you stop in the middle and you say, oh, I'm doing that thing I do. This is the sort of thing that I'm doing. One day we were visiting with someone, and she was describing symptoms of physical discomfort, as you are describing. And her attitude was, for me to be in this place, which feels like major blockage because she has physical symptoms, she said, I must really, 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 really be doing big things. There must be some big blockage within me that's keeping me from thriving. And we said, it's never, ever, ever, ever big. It's never a big thing. It's a constant hammering of a whole bunch of little things. It's just keeping myself steadily in the conversation of what goes wrong. In other words, begin to pay attention over the next few days of the kinds of things you're hearing from people. It's fun even to eavesdrop in restaurants. And what you begin to notice is that often the conversation starts out sort of positive, but then they'll get on something and then off it goes. And that's why we say 2,000 times of catching yourself doing that thing you do is a pretty easy day. So now we want you to begin practicing some different stories. In other words, because we want you to realize that nothing that has ever happened has anything to do with right here and now. Right here and now you're asking. Right here and now the universe is answering. Right here and now are you locked onto your signal or locked off to your signal? That's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what happened 15 years ago. It doesn't matter what happened last year. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Nothing matters. It doesn't matter how much money you've got. It doesn't matter how much money you've ever had. It doesn't matter how much money is coming. The only thing that matters is right here and now. Are you choosing words that lock you onto your signal, which let in what you're asking for, or are you choosing words that lock off of your signal? So as you stand in your now, you see everything that you've been living has caused you to launch a powerful desire. And the universal forces are powerfully answering that desire. Are you letting it in now? So you say, let's see, I'm worried about my dead dogs. No, I'm not letting it in. I'm focused upon my very much alive dog. Yes, I'm letting it in. I'm loving the house that I'm in. I'm letting it in. I'm worrying about being able to keep my lifestyle. I'm not letting it in. I'm remembering how the money went. I'm not letting it in. I'm anticipating more money coming. I'm letting it in. I'm frustrated that I didn't budget better. I'm not letting it in. I'm angry that there wasn't more to begin with. I'm not letting it in. I'm anticipating more coming. I'm letting it in. In other words, you can just feel by the sun. So as you pick and choose, whether you are remembering from the past or observing in your now or anticipating into the future, you're doing one or two things. You're letting it in or you're not letting it in. You're locked onto the signal or you're not locked onto the signal. And that is the only thing that matters. Your physical condition is just an amplified version. It's so wonderful. You said to us, it comes and it goes. And it seems to be stress-related. And we say, isn't that exactly what we're talking about here? All this virus is an amplified guidance system that is letting you know that you're locked onto your signal or well-being or you're not. So now, make an effort here to make a sort of stream of statements, and it doesn't matter. If you go off, no big deal. Everybody does. Just make an effort to make a series of statements that are locked on. You can even repeat some of the ones that you gave us before. It doesn't matter.
I really enjoy learning, and I didn't do a lot of that for many years.
Locked off?
Yeah.
That's all right. But the only reason we're saying that to you is because law of attraction is a very powerful thing. So as you pick a statement that locks you on, you see, in the beginning, it could go either way. You could lock on, you could lock off, you could allow, you could resist. But if you lock on, lock on, lock on, lock on, lock on, then you're less likely to go back to that place of resistance. Most people lock on, lock off, lock on, lock off, lock on, lock off. In other words, I want more money, I don't have enough. Wouldn't it be nice to have that? Oh yeah, but who could afford those payments? And so what you're wanting to do is just reach for a longer stream of locking on, because when you do, law of attraction assists you then in the next and the next and the next. So try again. Never mind reality. We don't want you to even be objective. We want you to be sort of in almost a demented way, reaching only for locked on thoughts. We don't want you to face reality at what, because we want you to hear us. You ask, the universe answers, are you letting it in? Are you locked on? That's the only thing that matters. If you're not getting what you want, it's because you're not locked on. That's all it could ever be. Think about this. There's 3 points to this system. I ask, that's been done. The universe answers, that's been and being done. I let it in. So right here and now, I'm going to let it in. I'm going to find a way to let it in. So talk to us about your dog, the one that's still with you.
I found Annie in a park in October. She was about 8 months old. She's the second dog that I found, and this is what I do. I kind of gather in these strays. She's a weird dog. She's Shar-Pei and Golden Retriever and Darling.
We want to hear more about the Darling.
She's very cute. She's rambunctious, and she doesn't behave as well as she might, but she's learning. She's learning. She's very soft to touch, and she's a delight in my life. She really is. She goes everywhere with me.
All right, now that was mostly locked on. There was a little wavering, but that was mostly locked on. Mm-hmm. Now pick another subject that pleases you.
The ranch.
Talk to us about that.
Okay. I came to the ranch 7 years ago, and no, this is going to go down very, quickly. We don't want to talk about this.
Then pick another subject. Because, now why? Because we're not interested in reality. We're not interested in objectivity. We're interested in locked-on statements. Because, after all, there's only three things. You ask, the universe answers, and you let in. So right here and now, you're just reaching for anything and everything. Ever see a good movie? Ever read a good book? Ever eat a good meal? Ever have a good friend? Ever enjoy a trip somewhere? Ever walk around Bear Lake?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Jerry said, I can't even remember what it was, but I found myself in the middle of a negative thought. And I thought, ooh, I want to get out of this negative thought. So he took his mind to Texas and focused upon the building project and thought about the water garden that in March will be started. And within seconds, he brought himself back into the receiving mode. As physical human friends, you have become habitual, not just you, almost all of you, offers of this sort of thing. You see something that needs to be fixed, and you turn your full attention to the dilemma. Now, if you're looking for solution, that's locked on. But if you are justifying solution by exaggerating problem, that's locked off. And so, don't expect to turn this corner overnight. No one does. Every opportunity that you can, just ask yourself, am I doing that thing that I've been doing where I'm locked off? And when you catch yourself doing that, then just reach for some thoughts, soft and gentle thoughts that give you just a little bit of relief, that give you just a little bit of sense of locking back onto your signal. And 30 days of practicing that, you'll be in a whole new place. You'll just be amazed at the ease with which this will come. It will only feel like a struggle the first 2 days. By the third day, it will start to feel easier. You'll begin to build some momentum about locking on. And by the end of 30 days, this will feel like such a distant memory. It would be almost hard for you to remember those habits of thoughts. That's how fast they turn once you know what you're doing. And there isn't one of you here in this room today who does not have a clear picture of what you have been doing. In other words, you got it. You have it. We're done. You'll hear more as we're moving forward. Yes.
Can I ask you just one question? And that is about my beloved black lab. That I had this feel, I took very good care of them, and one had survived a bear attack recently. And then when they were either poisoned or just got in antifreeze accidentally, which I don't know. But I felt guilty, because I moved them and we were in a disconnected place and things weren't quite the same that they had been. And in dealing with death, when are dogs like people? I mean, I know they must have chosen it in some way to just leave like that, but the grief was horrendous.
Yes.
I never felt such grief.
In relationship to the subject of death, your beasts are exactly like you, with this exception. They live shorter, faster, fuller lives. And they resist death not at all because they understand that they are eternal beings. And so they push not against death at all. And so when they find themselves in any environment that is less than joyful, they do not think anything about releasing and taking another run at it. And we think it is wonderful when physical humans come to the same understanding. The other day, Esther was watching an exuberant child, 2 of them, playing in a campground. And their joy was so evident, it took Jerry and Esther's breath away. They sat and watched them out the window of the motor coach. Unbounding joy. They were playing with a stick. And the fun that they were having with it was disproportionate to the stick. And Esther said to Jerry, just now I got a sensation of exhilaration as I realized I'm going to get to come back and be a kid again. There's a part of her that says, like so many of you, oh, it's so nice to know what I now know. In this total state of connection, I now know I have control of my own experience. But as she watched these little ones in their utter exuberance for life in that moment, Esther thought, it is going to be such fun. Again and again. Well, your beasts know that. In other words, they have no resistance whatsoever to the idea of their longevity. And so they're in and out, in and out, in and out. Think about it. A beast comes to full enough maturity. The little beast that's 6 months old to a year is living as broad and full of a life experience as the beast that is living to be 12 or 15 years old. Right. In other words, they reach that level of maturity very fast. And so they're in and out of their bodies with such ease. They just don't even worry at all about it. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would just take pleasure in the understanding of that beast. And then we have one more question for you. When you say, I feel so guilty, and we say, is that locked on or off? And you say, yes, but Abraham, what I'm wanting to know from you is, do I have reason to feel guilt? And we say, have you heard nothing from us? In other words, we're not for a moment going to give you any reason to stand in a moment of guilt for any reason. If you had run over them with your own motor scooter again and again and again, we would not encourage you to stand in a place holding yourself in a place of guilt about it, you see?